if he is to maintain this pace, and if Boise State plays for the Mountain West title, and then obviously gets one postseason game, if he is to maintain this pace, Ashton Jeanty's going for 3,000 yards this year.
I think he'll get there.
Are you kidding me?
He's insane.
Like, I think it's time. Like, are we? And he's got a long way to go. I think we might be watching one of like the great running back seasons of the modern era. And I'm not sure that it's like.
You think?
Okay. All right. So it's that.
We are.
Okay. We are. All right.
I mean, dude, he's insane.
There's no reason that he can't. I mean, there's no reason based on Boise State's remaining schedule. There's no reason that with full health, we are not talking about one of the best running back performances of all time for a single season. I mean, am I going too hyperbole? I mean, I'm prone to hype in hyperbole. But
let's list the laundry list of incredible defenses he still has to face: Utah State, Hawaii, UNLV, San Diego State, Nevada, San Jose State, Wyoming, Oregon State. He's going to rush for 4,000 yards.
That's what I think he needs to do too. It's interesting. Boise State, they got a pretty vocal fan base, right? They can clap back with the best of them. After Milroe's performance, he was atop a lot of Heisman lists. After Travis Hunter's performance, he was on the top of a lot of the lists. I didn't see Jeanty on top of any, but he was on them, and Boise State fans were upset. Like, you better watch out. Like, this dude, what he is doing is better than any of them. If he wants to, I think he can get to New York if he just maintains kind of the pace and he has an incredible statistical year. But he's got to break probably Barry Sanders' record if he wants to actually win the award. But he's positioned himself.
That's what I was saying. So Barry had 26-28, 2,628 yards going into the bowl game. He had 28-50 after the bowl game because he went bananas.
Well, that's right. They didn't count those.
They didn't count those.
So you kind of have to.
Well, and for the Heisman voting, you won't have
that before.
Yeah. So if Ashton Jeanty gets to 2,700 when ballots are due, I think he can do it.
I think he can.
I don't know if he can win, but I think he could be a finalist.
If he's at 2,700, it's going to be hard to.
But then there has to be no other kind of superstar kind of.
What is Alabama's record?
Team.
Right.
So I'm saying, and Boise has to be the playoff team, I think.
Yeah, agreed.
It's the way that
they have to run the table
Yeah.
from here on out. They have to win the Mountain West. I could see a recency bias scenario where Texas plays Bama. Milroe maybe doesn't have the game of his life. Quinn Ewers is kind of eliminated, even though he shouldn't be because of stats. And yeah, I could see it happening then. The other thing too, if you go back and look at the numbers versus Oregon, they also, like, if Oregon does really well against Ohio State, or they play for the Big Ten and maybe they're the Big Ten champion, I think that helps his case a ton as well. Although then as a Dylan Gabriel, it's all of a sudden there, that would potentially steal it. I think it's probably a long shot he wins, but I think he can get to New York without question.
I think Gabriel, Milroe, Gabriel, Beck, and who else? Like, there's some of those names at the top of the odds board, which we see every daggum year. I mean, it's so funny. We're like, all right, so who's it going to be? And every single year, like, it's not a curse at all, but whoever's at the very top of that Heisman Trophy odds board, whether it's like expectations or the way we talk about it, it is rare that we see those 2 to 3 names end up being the ones that last to the end. It's not necessarily a quarterback who comes out of nowhere. Like Jaden Daniels, I think, was 9th on the odds boards in the preseason. Joe Burrow was like top 12 on the odds board in the preseason. Like, those two were, I guess you're coming out of nowhere that you could look for in the last 5 years or so. But yeah, I think so. Melvin Gordon ran for 2,587. So I think if we get to 2,600, we're having some serious conversations, and then comparing him to a Jalen Milroe who's going to have like Jalen Milroe is going to have those Manziel like dual threat numbers, you know, like because Manziel broke the Tebow records, you know, like when he's going to have together some of those dual threat numbers that are going to be giving him a good argument. But I think Ashton Jeanty absolutely has everything in line to be able to continue and to be able to win the Heisman Trophy this year. And that would be a break. It would be a non-quarterback, and it would be not from a traditional power, but he's going to have a tough time to do it for sure.
You know what's going to kill Cam Ward, who was leading it before? Somebody asked in the chat, is Miami going to beat another ranked team? The schedule could be what prevents Cam Ward from winning this thing, because it might just be everyone wants that moment, you know, in that type of game when it's back and forth and it's a ranked opponent and you're playing there on the national stage. I mean, is a game against Louisville or Florida State going to resonate with voters? Are they going to watch? That's another battle. Like a lot of the Jalen Milroe, everybody was watching that game, vaults right to the top.
Well, they'll watch the FSU game because ESPN will put that on prime time, I'm sure. They'll probably watch the Louisville game. How much the voters like watch the ACC title game, if that is Clemson, like that's probably
that would be the one.
That would be it. Yeah.
I mean, like there's certain guys who are high up, and I struggle to see the path necessarily. Like Miller Moss at USC after losing to Michigan, I don't really know that he can elevate to that. Like, does Will Howard actually have the numbers? I don't think so. Like Gabriel still has a path for sure, right? They have not lost. He is still on pace to break the all-time passing record. Like if he's 14-1 right now, if he beats Ohio State and they win the Big Ten, like that's a clear path. Like I don't know that will happen, but it certainly could. You know, Jackson Dart, I think would have to light up Georgia and just go insane. But like I don't know that he has enough left unless he, you know, leads Ole Miss the SC title, which is like still possible if certain things happen. You know, Ewers definitely has a chance. Comes back, beats Georgia. They still have to play somebody in the SC title game if they make it, right? I think Carson Beck still has a path, 30-1.
I was thinking about
Jalen. Goes on the road to Texas, big game.
Go to Texas.
I don't know.
Go to Ole Miss. Go back to the SC title game.
I'm having a hard time coming around on Carson Beck, seeing him turn into that player that's just going to be a dude. I mean, that was a rough first half. Even in the second half, a lot of the big plays that helped them come back, is he underthrowing them under purpose, like to make sure he doesn't overthrow them, or is his arm strength in question?
Like the one to Young? Yeah, that was a little weird.
Yeah. There was a lot. There was a couple of them where the receivers just throw down. They just had to slow down a little bit. They were still big plays, still made the right reads. And sometimes you don't want to miss the layup. So, you know, there's nothing worse than an incomplete pass when you overthrow them. I'm a little bit tentative on Carson Beck being the dude at Georgia that's going to bring them back.
I definitely don't think he will win it, but
right. Yeah, he has a path.
He has the path in a way that some of the guys ahead of him, I really don't think do.
Carson Beck has not been asked to be a cold-blooded killer that many times in his career. And I think he needed to be in that environment in Bryant-Denny Stadium. And in a way that is totally unfair for me to say from Raleigh, North Carolina, not being in that locker room, but it looked like the moment was too big for him. Looked like he got a little shook. Like he just wasn't seeing it. It was just kind of and look, man, Bryant-Denny Stadium can get like that. That place will swallow you whole. And it was good resiliency that he was able to, you know, not totally lose it and be able to lead them back into that game. You know, I liked Kirby's message to the team at halftime. Like, I don't know what's going to happen in this game, but we're going to find out who we are. So, you know, Carson Beck at least showed you that he's not going to curl up in a ball and take the beating. So good for him for getting back up and throwing some punches. But that was a moment. That was the first real setback for a quarterback who hasn't been asked to do that a lot so far.